Well guys, I don't know how I did it, but I have found my unicorn. This is a legit, for real Bosch 044 pump, and I'm not exactly sure how I got it. I was messing around just for giggles on the Summit website, and I decided to load one of these things into my cart, clicked on estimate shipping, and it gave me a number, and I was like, well, let's see what happens if I try to buy it, and it came. I don't know if it's a computer glitch, or if the California rules have changed, or if Summit has changed, or if Bosch has done something to the product to now make it legal for sale in California. But I got one, and I got it from Summit, and a little code over here, I verified against the Bosch website, and they confirmed that it's a legitimate pump. So yeah, I can't explain it, but Summit now sells these Bosch 044 pumps to California residents. Amazon, however, does not, and I don't know if this is a vendor by vendor kind of situation, but I'm not going to ask questions. Let's just open this thing up. So here we go. This is what's in the box. New warning notice. Totally different color. That's cool. Legit pump. Oh boy. It's a bit difficult to see, but you can see along the sealing edge there's the Bosch symbol, and it says Bosch, and then there's a couple of numbers that follow it, and you can see it again actually right over here. All right, let's compare. Knockoff on the left, genuine on the right. So the knockoff packaging is sealed all along the four edges, here, and along the top, whereas the Bosch is only sealed along the bottom over here, and then along the top. Okay, shake test of the genuine unit. And the knockoff. Audibly, it sounds different for sure. Sounds like there's more slop in the knockoff. There's definitely a little bit of play in the Bosch, but not nearly as much. Okay, when you have the two next to each other, you can see a very clear difference in the finish of the pumps. The knockoff unit is definitely duller than the real thing. Here's what the imprinting looks like on the real deal. You can see the numbers are very defined, and you can see how the surface is upset all the way around each of the letters. And here's the knockoff. Much poorer in terms of quality. The printing definitely appears deeper in the genuine units than it does in the knockoff. Okay, comparing outlets now. This is the genuine unit on the right, and this is the knockoff on the left. So there's definitely a color difference in terms of the check valve. You can see that the copper washers are thicker in the genuine unit. It's a bit difficult to see in the video, but the knockoff unit on the left has a much shinier appearance on this top cap than the genuine unit does. They both appear to be die cast, but I'm guessing that it's a difference in alloy that's leading to the difference in sheen between the two. So here's what I meant by the ejector pins on that genuine unit being a little bit different. You can see it's a semicircle right here on the ground terminal. On the positive, it's a full circle, and here is the knockoff. Full circle here, and it's a full circle here. So this is interesting as well. You can see that there's a gap between the top plate and this rolled edge over here on the genuine unit, whereas on the knockoff unit, it's much tighter. Okay, looking down at the crimp, you can see that on the knockoff unit, the gauge of the material that they're using here is definitely thinner than compared to the real thing. So another look at the top here. You can see that on the genuine unit, there's a little dot only on one side, whereas on the knockoff, we do not have any features. Looking at the top edge over here, you can see that on the knockoff unit, you've got this line that runs across the top over here. And then you can see here that mark ends as it approaches the terminal. Whereas on the genuine unit, you don't have that same mark. There's a good side by side. Now let's take a look at the impression left by the crimping machine. This looks like it's a rectangular impression, whereas if you look at the genuine unit, it's almost triangular in nature. And looking at the crease that runs along the top here, the knockoffs are noticeably sharper than on the genuine unit. It was kind of difficult for me to see in pictures before, but when you have the real thing next to you, you can actually see there's a marked difference in what this feature looks like. There's no creasing whatsoever. Whereas on the knockoff, you can see there's a hard crease running all the way around. Okay, let's take a look at the positive terminal posts. You can see that on the genuine unit, the right side, the terminal is longer than on the knockoff. So positive versus negative on the real thing, you can see that the positive is longer, and then on the knockoff, you can see that they're the same length. On the legitimate unit, you can see how the metal part of the binding post sits proud of the plastic on both the positive and negative terminals. Now let's take a look at this guy. Look how on the binding posts the metal actually sits lower than the plastic surround. Of course you want it proud, because if you've got a washer coming down on this, you want to make good contact and you want to see it on the binding post. You don't want to be squeezing down on this plastic here. This is the knockoff. You can see it's fairly shiny, whereas on the genuine unit it's got a much duller appearance. I'm guessing that the genuine unit is duller in appearance because it's had some type of post-machining operation done to it, possibly some type of blasting or deburring operation, whereas the knockoff unit looks like it's basically freshly been run through the die. In my prior video, I said that some companies would use markers to indicate whether a unit had gone through some type of visual inspection for quality. So this is recurring on the genuine units. There's always a mark on one of these crimps, and that does not appear to be the case with these knockoffs. Similarly, on the discharge at the check valve, you've got a little mark here at the top of the genuine unit, nothing on the knockoff. And then looking at the base, you've got a mark on the base of the genuine unit, nothing on the knockoff. Okay, now we're looking at the inlet here. It's a bit difficult to see in video, I think, but the quality of the mesh for the inlet filter here, or inlet screen, is a little bit different between these two units. So on the genuine unit, you can see that it's a little more opaque, which I think means that the filtering element is a little bit thicker than on the knockoff. So compare the hole quality on the genuine unit versus the hole quality on the knockoff. Pretty atrocious. This is the inside of the check valve. Look how rough that surface is. You can see there's burrs hanging off of the edge. Now let's take a look at the genuine Bosch unit. Nice and clean, consistent diameter throughout. Genuine unit's got a nice chamfer, whereas the knockoff does not. Okay, looking at the casting features for the positive and the negative symbols, you can see that at the very edge of the positive plus sign, it's defined and separated relative to the vertical edge. And similarly, the negative sign, you can kind of see that trapezoidal shape there at the end of the negative sign. And here's the knockoff, not well defined at all. It basically runs right up to the edge on the positive and on the negative. Okay, pretty amazing difference when you look at the legitimate unit. This is the discharge versus the knockoff. The top post in the middle is tapered on the knockoff, whereas on the legitimate pump, there's no taper at all. 4 protrusions along the outside, nice and consistent. Well machined, no burrs, and basically crap. So there it is, genuine versus knockoff.